Welcome to Conversations. I'm Muqtadar Khan, your host, and today I'm going to talk to you about the World Inequality Report that has just been published for the year 2025. The report and the research is conducted by the World Inequality Laboratories Lab, which is based in Paris at a very prominent university. And it has been producing research, and it monitors essentially the growth of inequality, or how inequality has evolved in the world from 1900 onwards. So it's a wealth of information and data available about nearly all countries, about the state of inequality of income, inequality of wealth. And in this report, they also look at the gender disparity in income and wealth. They also look at some of the aspects of global structural injustices. So, for example, even today, the amount of money that flows from poor countries to rich countries is, I think, some 3 or 4 times more than the aid that goes from rich countries to poor countries. Uh, uh, there is also the discussion as to how the richer people, whether they are in the global south or in the global north, are far more responsible for emissions and pollution than the poor. So the rich countries are polluting more. The rich people, even in poor countries, are polluting more than the poor people. But when the consequences of global warming and climate change happen, it is the poor who suffer. There is also this. They also highlight how the world is growing pretty fast. In fact, the rich 10% of the world apparently has grown at about 8% every year. So their wealth is expanding. So we are living on a very rich planet where half the population is very, very poor. So these are the inequalities that they are trying to show, and they also have data nearly on every country. So what I intend to do essentially in this short presentation is I will first give you the overall state of inequality in income and wealth globally. And then I will show to you as to using one of the indicators that measures inequality, which are the countries which are the most unequal in the world today. And it will come as a shock to a lot of people when I show you the rankings of the most unequal countries. And then I will do a small comparison very briefly of the United States, China, India. These are the top three geopolitically important countries in the world today. So I will show you a comparison of inequality of income and wealth in US, China, and India, and I will also add Pakistan because these days a large number of viewers from India keep telling me, why don't you also pay attention to the Pakistani economy? So I have also included their data. You can go to the World Economic Inequality Report and you can actually look at it's a lot of data, but you can, if you're curious, you can look at very specifics in this. So take a look. So we will talk about that. So here is the first slide that I want to show. If you're listening to this show, please watch, because there are lots of slides and data that I have taken from the report to share with you to give you an idea of what's going on in the world. So if you look at this particular slide, it shows global income and wealth inequality in 2025. This is a snapshot. So it's not talking about change, etc. Just telling you what it is right now. So if you look at the blue column in the bar graph, it is the 50%, the bottom 50% of the global population. That means half the planet is blue. The green is the 40%, from 50 to 90%, and the red is the top 10% of the population. So what this chart shows you, if you look at the first set of three graphs with income, it says that the top of all the money that is generated, of all the income that is generated in 2025 this year, 53% of it is by the top 10%. Imagine this. Only top, if the world is composed of 100 people, the richest 10 of them are earning more than half of everything that is being earned. And the bottom 50%, the bottom half, is earning only 8%. So it is stunning that the top 10% are earning nearly 6.5 times more than half of the planet. That itself should shock you about the state of inequality of income. This is income. What is the money you've earned per month or per year? And then if you look at the second set of the charts, you will see that the wealth, this is wealth. Now, this is different. Wealth is cumulative assets, total money that you have, all your land holdings, your properties, your businesses, your assets, your gold, your for middle class people, it's your retirement funds, etc. This is how much your net worth. And here, this is where you can see the gross injustice of the world that we live in. The top 10% of the population owns 75% of all the wealth. And the bottom 50% owns only 2% of the world. This is just unbelievable. So 2% of the entire wealth of this planet is owned by half the population, and 10% of the population owns 75% of the entire world. This should be extremely shocking. On this side, you see that they have split the top 10% by giving you the top 1%, and that is even more shocking if you look at the wealth. The top 1% of the wealth of the population of the world owns 37% of the world's wealth and 20% of the income. And the bottom half of the population, this is what you're talking about, more than 4 billion people, have only 2% of the wealth and 8% of the income. So this is a very scary and shocking data, needless to understand. And for those of you who are wondering as to why there is so much disparity between income and wealth, what you must understand is that while the poor people, the bottom half of the population, uh, earns a greater share of the income, they're not able to save. All of that is probably spent. And so it's only the richer people who have savings and investments and stock markets, etc. And therefore, their wealth share is much, much higher than their income share. So, for example, the top 1%'s income share is only 20% of the total income of the year, but their wealth is 37% because they're able to save, and then their money makes money, and so on and so forth. I want to share another interesting slide, which looks at the globe as such and looks at the inequality across the countries. So if you look at it, the way they divide the world is there's sub-Saharan Africa, the poorest part of the world, of the planet. And then you have South and Southeast Asia. So this is where India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Sri Lanka. The second poorest region in the world is South and Southeast Asia. And then you have Latin America, then you have the Middle East and North Africa, and then Russia, Central Asia, East Asia, Europe, and North America, which is basically US, Canada, Mexico, and Oceania. So Australia too is the richest region of the world. So this particular graph, the way to understand this is that what it just shows is green is wealth and red is income. And the number percentages that you're seeing is percentage of the global average. They should have put a world somewhere here between Latin America and the Middle East. That is where the world's average is. So for example, if you look at Latin America, it says the income of Latin America is 86%, which means if the world is making average of the world is $100 per month or per year, in Latin America, they are earning only $86. And in the Middle East, they are earning $108, which is 108%. So if the world is earning $100, that is the average of the whole world, total income of the world divided by the total population of the world, the average is 100 then. So that is what the percentage says. So if you look at the poorest part of the world is sub-Saharan Africa, their income is 30% of the world's average. That means the world on an average makes nearly 3 times more than people in sub-Saharan sub-Saharan Africa, and their wealth share is just 20%. That means the average wealth of the world is 5 times than the sub-Saharan Africa. The scene is not very good for South Asia too, and India is not significantly richer than other countries. They're slightly more richer than Pakistan, comparable to Bangladesh, and the wealth and income in Sri Lanka, Maldives is actually higher than than India in terms of per capita income. So if you look at South Asia, the South Asia, broadly speaking, people make only half of the world's average. And the income is less than half of the world's. So if you compare South Asia, say, with North America and Oceania, it is the difference is huge. It is probably 6 to 7 times. So for example, if you look at the income of North America, it is 290%. So if the world is averaging $100 per month or per year as income, in the North America, the average is $290. So nearly 3 times more, and the wealth is even more, it's 338%. So you can see that the poorer part of the world, the poorer half of the world, is the sub-Saharan Africa, South and Southeast Asia, Latin America. That is the poor part. This is the global South. We also include East Asia in the global South, but I think we should stop doing that. East Asia is now the third richest region in the world. It is also richer than Russia and Central Asia. But this is an interesting graph that they provide. What they show here is that there is also very large inequality within regions. And that is very critical. So what they've done is they've given you a sample. So take a look at the Russia and Central Asia. Okay. So what it says is the green part is the income and the red part is the wealth part. So let me explain what this 36% green part says about Russia and Central Asia. What that 36% says is that the bottom half earns 36 times less than the top 10%. That is the level of inequality in Russia and Central Asia. 36 times the income. So if you're in the top 10% in Russia and you're making $100, then people in the bottom half are making less than $2 or less than $3 because you are making 36 times more than them. And then the wealth inequality is stunning. It's 260 times the values. And that is the stunning part of this entire data, that within the poor countries, the disparity of wealth. So if you look at South and Southeast Asia, if you look at the green part, the income, the top 10% makes 40 times the bottom half of the country. And their savings are 141 times. And that is a very, very stunning fact as such. I find it very stunning indeed that there is so much stunning disparity both in income and wealth. I want to show you another chart, but this is not from world income. The data has been taken by others and they have also expounded it. So this shows you wealth inequality using the, so if you look at the wealth inequality here, I'm not able to see this. It looks so tiny to me. But if you look at the world inequality, let me just give you the number. The country which is the most unequal or the worst distribution of wealth is Brazil. Brazil has the worst distribution of wealth. And in the top 3 countries, this is why it's important. Okay, Brazil is the worst. Very high inequality. Okay, then Russia, like I just showed you, that the top 10% makes 36 times more than the bottom half of Russia. Russia is the second worst. South Africa is the third worst country in terms of income distribution. And if you notice the names, Brazil, Russia, South Africa, these are BRIC countries. They talk about justice on the global level, but they're not practicing justice at home. the most unequal countries in the world. And then Saudi Arabia, and then Sweden, and then the US. So fourth is UAE, fifth is Saudi Arabia, sixth is Sweden, seventh is United States, and eighth is India. Ninth is Turkey, and 10th is Mexico. So if you look at the top 8 countries, the 2 countries that I'm currently, of the 4 countries that I'm studying, 2 of them are extremely unequal. They are in the top 8. So India is now clearly in the top 10 or top 8 in terms of unequal countries. China is a bit below that. That is 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17th is China. And Pakistan is much, much below this. So it is more of an equal country than unequal, in spite of the fact that it's one of the most corrupt countries that are in the world. So now I'm going to show you a little complex data of 4 countries. And so this is the, let me show you the income first. So I'm doing a comparison here of India, China, US, and Pakistan. And the reason I'm using India, China, and US is these are the 3 most geopolitically significant countries in the world today. And I'm including Pakistan because a lot of my viewers are from India and they are very curious about what's going on in Pakistan. And there are also Pakistanis watching. So you can also watch it. There is no intellectual justification for including Pakistan. It is just customer satisfaction, you can say. All right. So if you look at it, this is what it shows, that in terms of income shares, the disparity in India is the most. And I plan to do another show in which I will just focus on these 4 countries and not talk so much about the global state of inequality. And I will probably do that in Hindi. So for those of the viewers who are very curious, I will go into in-depth of all the 4 countries about the inequalities in income and wealth in those countries. And I will do that in Hindi for those who are curious in India. But just know that where I will also look at the trends as to how things have changed over a period of time. So the income shares of these 2 countries. So you can see that both China and Pakistan, the gap between the top 10% and the bottom half is the least in Pakistan, and then China, and then US, and then India. So India is, of these 4 countries, the most unequal when it comes to income. And then when you look at the wealth is the United States. The United States has the biggest disparity of wealth. So if you look at the top 50%, look at that, nearly 70%, 70, and look at the bottom. It's like the inequality in wealth accumulation. This is because that not everybody is on stock market, and there is a lot of awful things that the US government does, giving tax cuts to the rich and then cutting benefits to the poor. This is the standard. Whenever you have a Republican in charge, like Donald Trump, he's done 2 things. In January, a lot of middle-class people are going to lose their health care because they are busy giving money to foreign countries. They just passed a bill in which they are sending millions and hundreds of millions of dollars to Ukraine and Russia and Israel and Europe. But so what the American government does, it's quite surprising that they cut benefits for the poor and then give tax cuts to the rich, then who save their money and then buy more stocks, and they become richer and richer. That's why the wealth gap in the United States is probably one of the worst in the world, because it's also the richest country with the largest number of billionaires. And there is all this competition going on as to who will be the first trillionaire, and chances are that an American will become a trillionaire before 2030. And that is absolutely vulgar and gross. It makes the whole earth look horrible with so much of inequality. So if you look at other than that, China, because China is the second worst country when it comes to wealth distribution, followed by India, followed by Pakistan. This is the state of income and wealth inequality. There are a lot of policy recommendations that the World Inequality Lab recommends, and they point out, for example, they point out a data which is stunning. And remember, all the data here is purchasing power parity. So those people, especially from India, suddenly keep saying, please use PPP, PPP. Yes, everything is based on PPP. So somehow people are under the impression that India will look much better than it is if you look at things from a purchasing power parity perspective. Anyway, the striking piece of data that the report shared was that, and all of this is euro, not dollars, keep that in mind too. So is that if I have said dollars, please forget this. It's all euros, but all are in the same currency. So that there is no error in the discussions. But the point they make is that after adjusting for purchasing power parity, the amount of money that is spent per student in sub-Saharan Africa is 200 euros. And the amount of money that is spent in North America per student is 9,000 euros. That is the degree of disparity. So if you're starting life with so much inequality, then it's impossible for you to catch up, especially if your competitors are getting better education. 9,000 euros may not necessarily guarantee good education, but definitely you will have great resources, and whether you like it or not, you're going to learn, because there is so much resources around you that are focused on educating you. They also say that if governments basically provide high quality education, free, and high quality healthcare, if these two things are provided, then income inequality disappears. But if the government are cutting taxes and are not, then the rich will get richer, and the income gaps within and between countries will increase if there are no statewide if the states are not intervening to provide higher degree of. So the key for them is essentially ensuring that good public education is provided free to the poor and to everybody, and good health care. They also talk about childcare support, early care, and also more and more support to women so that they can go and work. They of course lament the gender inequality that is there in income as well as wealth. So anyway, I hope you found this interesting and thought-provoking, and so wherever you are, keep in mind to encourage your governments to essentially work towards providing free and high-quality education. Free education is not enough. It has to be good quality education and free and good healthcare. Only then will you see income disparities disappear. If income disparities continues to increase, then you will see a lot of political upheaval, revolutions, and instability, which is not in the interest of even the rich people who like stability to continue to make money and enjoy their money. Anyway, so if there are any questions which are interesting, I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I will take your leave, but there's something else I wanted to share before I go. For those who are members of Conversations, I have a Zoom meeting for members on Saturday, December 13th from 11 a.m. New York time and 9:30 p.m. India time. We can talk about whatever you like. Probably my visit to Hong Kong, China, South Korea 2 weeks ago or 1.5 weeks ago. I will talk about some of the interesting things that happened and the things that I saw and the things that I heard from the scholars from that part of the world. I have articles about that which have been published, one in the Frontline magazine in India and another one that is coming out tomorrow in India's World. So anyway, let's see if there are any interesting questions. And then Ram Surendra, lots of greetings. Which ism is better for social equality? Socialism, capitalism, society with no religion, communism, or something else? Well, we know that the communist countries have not done very well. I think the best models are what the Scandinavian countries have, which means that you have free market economy, so that there's innovation and competition, but you have a strong welfare state which provides education and healthcare. America's welfare state is about war and defense and giving money to foreign countries, not that kind of state that taxes the middle class and benefits the rich and foreigners. We want a state that will benefit their own citizens first, provide good education, provide good healthcare, and those are the two primary reasons where then you will have a less unequal society. And so it's like the modern welfare state, a capitalist / welfare state is what I would recommend. People asking questions about cricket. Before the show started, I was watching India's T20 performance against South Africa. It was not very good. You're welcome, Jose. Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed the show. China is not a communist country, my friend. It is a one-party state in many ways. There are smaller parties apparently in regional level. There's a one-party state which India is also becoming now, a one-party state which is extremely capitalistic. It's more capitalistic than the United States. So it's a capitalist economy, but it does not have a multi-party democracy. That's what China is. It's not a communist state at all. People own properties. I was invited to a ceremonial tea, a Chinese tea, I don't know what to call it, tea shop. And the building in which the tea shop was, the apartments for each was worth $30 million. So yeah, there is a lot of wealth in China. Individuals, there are a lot of Chinese billionaires, second largest producer of billionaires. So it's not a communist country by far. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching Conversations. If you have not subscribed to the channel already, do subscribe to the channel, like this video, press the bell icon, and share this video with your social political network. If you are in India, then go and buy the Frontline magazine, the current issue. It has an interesting article by me. And for those of you who are interested in a Hindi version of it, which will look much closely at India, China, US, and Pakistan, I will do that at some point tonight. So thank you for watching.